Hello, everyone. My name is Paul Thorne, and as you will notice, my good friend and fellow podcast co-host, Ed Thorne, is not with us this week. I don't really have a good excuse for you. He just decided he couldn't be bothered. Or it was maybe because we have an engineer that is going to show us up, because we have not only a very good content creator who knows how to use a camera much, much better than me, I have a working engineer who is something that me and Ed aspire to. So let me introduce you to our guest for this week, who's going to accompany me this week. Jeremy from Recording Studio Loser. Jeremy, how are you this fine afternoon? By the way, Ed, there's technical issues. That's why Ed can't be here. He is gutted. Jeremy. He's gutted that he can't be here. But it's going to be me and you this evening. I know.
I miss him, man. I was happy to see you guys, both you guys. No, I'm good, man. That was a heck of an intro.
I don't. You know what I'm like? It either goes brilliantly or it goes worse. So, this week, I want to chat to you about the reality of trying to make all of this whole audio career, all this whole shindig work, because out of nearly everybody on YouTube, there's only a few people, in my opinion, that I see who makes content around actually physically working as an audio engineer. And it's one of the reasons why I've been following you for a long time, and I don't really follow that many people now. So it takes, a good creator to keep you interested. But the reason I've always loved watching your journey is because it is a journey, and I love how everything that you do on YouTube is enveloped around you working as an engineer. So for anybody that doesn't know, again, we don't need to go into the Bible, but give everybody a little bit of an introduction into, how you started and how you got to where you are now.
Sure. So the quick abridged version. So my name's Jeremy. I started out working. I was going to business school, grad school. I wanted to work in HR of all things. I had always been a musician up to that point, and I liked kind of the business side. My parents kind of, I saw things that I liked about that aspect of life, and that was kind of where I thought I was going. Well, that was like 2009, and for us here in the U.S., we had the big housing crash around that time, and there was no work to be found anywhere. So I fell back on my kind of musician background, what little I knew about recording, and the little interface that I had, and I was using that to kind of just record my friends, and that's how I paid the bills and fed myself right after grad school, because thousands of trying to get a job at thousands of different places. I put out resumes, and I just deleted this hard drive, and there were over 1,000 of them, and I never got a single interview. And so that just kind of became the thing I did, and eventually it was my dad who told me, hey, you got to shit or get off the pot here. Like, I think this is your career. And he believed in me more than I did, honestly. And that's what got the thing started. Started working more and more. We found a building where I'm at now. I've been here for about 12 years, and even this building has taken on so many different forms. Like, as I had the money to do things, I would renovate or change things, but it's been completely DIY since day one, for better or worse.
I know it is for better or worse when it's DIY, isn't
it? And now we're here. So I don't know if that's too abridged.
No, that's fine. That's fine, because we all know I can waffle. So, I could turn this into a 2-hour podcast very quickly. So, in terms of you getting clients, what were the things that started to work for you? Was it word of mouth? Was it trying to get in with other studios? Was it networking? What would you say are the key things that got you where you are now in regards to being a busy working engineer?
I think the key there, when you say like busy working engineer, that it's not always busy.
Yeah, I get told that all the time.
It is a whole combination of things. For me, what worked, and this is very much like, I'm in the Midwest of the U.S., so I am not very close to a music hub. Right, okay. I'm about a 5-hour drive from Nashville.
Wow.
I'm kind of in between Chicago and Detroit. So like, as far as like drive times around here, like that's not crazy. People will travel that, but it's not like I'm there in the middle of it all. Come to find out, that's actually a really good place to be because my overhead is dumb low. Getting clients, that overhead kind of saved me early on because I found that there were a lot of times where you would go a long time without working with people, but I knew if I could get them in and give them the best experience possible, and it realistically didn't always happen that way, but I knew if I could give them a good experience and turn them into an evangelist, that would be the only way I could move forward because I literally didn't have the money to do any marketing. And it's actually like right now, I'm talking with my assistant about like changing that. We're going to be running our first ads for the studio.
In 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I've never done it before. So like people ask about how to run ads. Like, I have no idea. So if you've seen like a couple of the new videos are actually going to have like, it's sponsored by me. Like, and that's our first try at it. So we're going to see what happens. But everything has been word of mouth. And I don't necessarily recommend that to everybody, but I had the benefit of just having a low overhead and trying to save money and have like an emergency fund built up so that if stuff dried up, I was okay. And like I do like front of house, like I do a lot of other like theater gigs, like stuff like that to try to diversify. So when something doesn't work, I could kind of shift into something else. And then ultimately all those things compounding kind of gets you to the place where you can kind of say no to certain gigs, which that's the ultimate place like we all want to be, right? And you can kind of get into that spot and out of that spot a lot. So I'm not saying it's a perfect like system all the time, but I guess that's how I ended up here.
So how long did it take you? How long would you say it took you? How long of a grind did you have to where you felt, right, I could really sustain this, really still going?
It's still a grind. I mean, it always will be. I mean, if you work for yourself, like, I mean, even doing the YouTube thing, like YouTube is a hobby, right? But even with YouTube, no matter how big you get, you always see like there's another goalpost. Like, so it's like, man, if I could just hit 1,000 subs, man, that'd be really cool. That'd be so cool. If I could just do one full-length record, that'd be super cool. Well, now it's like, I'm looking at myself and like I realize like, yeah, I get stressed about the work I do. Like looking ahead at my calendar right now, I have 3 different input lists on my desk in the office. And I'm kind of getting like stressed out about my schedule, but I'm like, how cool is it to be stressed out about a job that like I dreamed about when I was little, you know? So I don't know if that's a good answer.
That's a great answer. This is going to be a long podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Buckle up.
So, in terms of your schedule, right, how do you manage it? I mean, have you got like an online calendar that people can book you on, or is it a case of it's like email inquiries? Like, how does that work? How do you schedule the work that you've got?
Not saying this is a perfect system, but how I do it. Everything goes through a contact form on the website, at least for cold clients. There definitely are those cases where like somebody knows somebody and they'll just call me, but everything goes through me, essentially. I don't have like a published schedule anywhere. I keep my calendar on my phone is like the biblical truth. And I have all my family stuff scheduled out. Where are my kids going to be? How's the babysitting work? And then where can I fit sessions in?
Yeah.
And we've kind of built something that works between like me, my wife, and our babysitter, who's a godsend. She's so flexible that if a session runs a little long, I can still get home and it's not a big deal. So it's just, it's one-off every time when somebody calls and gets on the calendar. So
what's really good for me to hear is that many people that I tend to speak to in the industry, there are a lot of family people out there, but we do tend to find many people who have dedicated themselves so much to the point where like they don't have kids, you know, they don't really have the dependencies and the responsibilities and, you know, the difficulties and the challenges of trying to balance life, you know, with a career in audio. So it's great for me to kind of, you know, speak to somebody who kind of understands the difficulty of being so present in your work and your career, because you do have to be completely dedicated to this. This is what's so hard for me right now, because like let's say I was away for a week there, Came back. I've got, by the way, for anybody wondering what all this chaos is in the back, I've got Nate Baglios from Cali Audio, and he's calibrating the SM8s, which we can talk about later, and my Atmos room as well. So I've got him down for 2 days, and there's my wife's birthday Wednesday, and then I've got a session Thursday, and then I've got a mix to finish, and then I think the weekend after that I've got Saturday, Sunday in, so I'm working Monday to Friday, then Saturday, Sunday in here, and I've got another Thursday night songwriting session. I've got 5 songwriting sessions, 5 different artists on the go. And it's funny when people who don't have families speak to me and they always say, Paul, I just don't know how you do it. Like, how do you manage it? Which, through my rambling, leads me to the question of, and I think I know the answer to it already, which is you just genuinely get on with it. But how do you manage it? I know you've mentioned babysitter, but how do you manage to be present in all of these elements in your life? Like, how have you found the best way to keep your energy up, to keep your morale up? Because it is difficult when you've got artists in, that are like blue-eyed and like, I'm so excited to work on my track. And it's like, I'm so tired. Like, I've generally just had to deal with the kids, that to do, this to do, that to do. And you've got to switch on, and you've got to be the smiley face, dedicated engineer that's going to, do amazing results. How do you balance that?
It's not a perfect system. I'm screwed up a lot, but I think the biggest thing that helps is on at least the client side, is setting boundaries early. Right. Because like anytime, like if somebody asks me when I'm open, because I'm a commercial space, so if somebody's asking me, what time are you guys open, or I want to come in for a session today, it's like, I'm sorry, that's not possible. We can't do that. I'm open by appointment. Happy to talk to you. Let's look at the calendar. Or for session times, I know some people are like, well, you have to be available 24/7 whenever the artist wants to go. And in my experience, that's the case with a couple things, but really, like, if you tell somebody, look, my day ends at 6, they respect it. And ultimately, I had one mentor in the music business where he was like one of the busiest guys that I knew. It has more Grammy noms than any of us will ever have, and I have 0, to be clear. He told me, like, there's nothing crucial that happens in the music business that can't be handled on Monday. Like if somebody calls you on a Friday night or a Saturday or a Sunday, like nothing's happening. So it is kind of a big deal. Like you want to be open and available, but if you set those boundaries, like people respect them. Like everybody has a life. And if those aren't the people, if they don't respect those boundaries, like I find that I don't really want to work with them.
I think that's a good point there. Because I think that for me, what I've really kind of struggled with is the notion that I have, what you just said there. Like I know a lot of people in the industry and a lot of big names, and it's all of this. You've got to dedicate your life to it, and you've got to be. If you get a phone call at 2 a.m. and it's an American client, and you've got to do a revision, you got to do it. They need it done. They won't come back, and it's like all this pressure. And me and Ed talk about it all the time. Where we're just like, we're not in the industry, and we probably can't see ourselves getting into the industry, so what are we worried about? I think a lot of the times you worry about, you look at these people who, are in the industry, who are like in the slog, who are in the grinder, in that machine, and I just sit there and think, that doesn't need to be me. I could be a happy working engineer, like what you said, setting boundaries. I think that's really important to put in place, is what many people don't talk about, is client management. Because at the end of the day, there is times that I've ran over in sessions, and it's been because I've been super pumped, and sometimes you get those sessions where you want to keep working. But, there is nothing worse when you've got super pumped and excited, it's went on too long, and you stroll through the door at like 30 minutes past midnight, and your wife's still up, and she's like, thought you said the session was at 10. Yeah. Really? Like 2.5 hours over? Like thought we were going to watch such and such. And I'm teaching myself slowly that, there's a thing for me where I'm not scared to lose work, but I think what you said there is pivotal, where if you set boundaries prior and you're very clear on, as you said, if it's like the session finishes at 6, it finishes at 6. If the studio shuts at 8, it shuts at 8. And, if it's not done and we don't get it done in time, then, we'll need to book another session. So, like, how do you deal with those difficult sessions where you've maybe gets a tight. I mean, what's like the tightest like session time wise that you do? Like, if somebody says that I want to do a full song, obviously it depends on if it's a full band, the arrangement, the amount of instruments. But do you normally tend to like have, that's got to be a day, full day in studio, or do you sometimes try and do things in like 4 hours, 6 hours? Like, how do you kind of judge it?
Yeah, it's always different. What we do a lot of is a lot of full band stuff. So in context of that, and even that can be like an artist who we are hiring a band to play with. Besides just like a band booking a day. But in that context, we're normally talking in terms of days. So like right now, there's a country thing we're working on here next week, and we're doing 13 songs. We have five players who are coming in, including the artist. And then we're doing all of the rhythm tracks for that will be done in 3 days. Now, I can confidently say that because I've worked with those session players enough, and I know that I can write a chart that they can read, and I've worked with the artist. So if it were a case where I hadn't worked with this artist before, I was working with fresh players, I'd be like, give me 7 days.
Right, yeah.
And it's you can always cut back time, but it's hard to add time. So I always try to plan the best I can. And I know these guys and this stuff we're doing, like it's case by case every single time. The shortest it'll probably be is, I think I've got one band, but they're punk, they're fast, they're hard. We're doing like 2 songs in a day. But again, I've worked with them before. So like there's not the confusion of like, let's set up the drums and figure out tones. I kind of already know what they're going for. Realistically, if I'm looking at like, here's a band I've never worked with, here's, a bunch of players that I don't know, I want to have at least 1 day for a song. Ideally 3. Because then you can really get things polished. But then like everybody's definition of what they want as an end product can be so different. So like we can do a label project where we're a week on a song, 2 weeks on a song, or we're turning them around in 2 hours. It's always different.
So how do you price for that? Do you try and price based on at the end of it, and you say, right, this is the amount of time that we took, or do you try and get a fixed price when you do the kind of projects like that?
I have basically everything's based on time. Right. And I try to gauge best I can before. So I typically won't work on anything unless it's paid for, or at least a portion of it has been paid for. So the artist who's coming in 2 weeks, they just came and dropped off their deposit. That locks them into the calendar. It lets me call the players. Like when there's that much gears turning, like there has to be money up front because we got to get church done. We got to get people booked. And then those people have families, and it's trying to like respect everybody's time. And I know that can be like a point of contention with a lot of people. Like, you're charging for work you haven't done yet. Well, yeah, because I mean, I try to respect everybody else's time who's involved too. Not just my own. I'm the last one to get paid in a project, and I probably should be. But if I have a session player, I don't want them to leave that day without being paid if I can help it. Especially if, they're busy and they're traveling, they're coming in. So
you raise a really, really good point. That's something that I've been thinking about recently, where would you say a big part of your success has been the fact that you do have lots of really, really good session players that you can, offer, to artists? Obviously, it's all included in the price because they need paid. But has that been something you found worked quite well for your career?
Dude, I can trace this back to like one project that I did. I don't even want to say what it is because it doesn't sound good. But
We've all had them.
I love that project dearly. I love that artist, and it was a slog. But it was the last project that I did in my career where I was like, I need to do everything. I need to control everything. And I was that guy who like, I would get pissed off at how expensive masters were. So I'm like, I'm going to learn to master. And I sucked for a long time. I wanted to do literally everything with the project, playing every single instrument, doing all this stuff, maybe bring in a drummer because I'm awful at drums. But I realized on that project, it was a full thing. I was like, I can't do this. It's sucking my soul away. It is so much work, and I can't focus on like each individual aspect because I'm too involved in the process. the next project I brought in players, and I brought in really good players, and it was like instantly the mix is done. I'm like, wait a second, how's that make sense? It's like they're in a better mindset to do what they do. They're pros. They're bringing in good equipment. Like they're bringing their own musical taste to the project. It was just an easy process, man. Like session players are the hack for like how you get a good mix. Like,
and I think you raise a really good point where me and Ed have talked about it a lot, that collaboration is totally key, because I'm finding the same what you're saying there, where just now I've got all these new Scottish artists coming in and we're writing songs and I'm helping produce it and I'm having to play on a lot of stuff. And when you're playing on it, it's quite difficult because you're like, right, not only have I got to be the recording engineer and make sure that this is in time and make sure that be the producer and make sure everything's building and the song's working and you're happy and I'm happy. You've then got to get your playing and you're like, right, okay, I've got to get this right and that right and I've got to think about this part and that part. And you get to a point where it becomes almost like such a slog. It's like, oh my God, like I already feel tired and we've only done half of the song. And what I've been doing recently is trying to find people who are local to me, who are well known, and, just go, right, even though I'm a guitarist, if I feel, do you maybe want to try and, again, it could just be like I was watching a video of Tim Pierce and he was talking about Iris from the Goo Goo Dolls. Goo Goo Dolls, Scottish accent, Jesus Christ. The amount of things I can't say is unbelievable. The Goo Goo Dolls. The Goo Goo Dolls.
I got the Midwest accent. Goo Goo Dolls.
Goo Goo Dolls. All right. So he was talking about how, again, the gig came up and he was only meant to be playing mandolin. But he was like, I brought my whole rig. And like they were all quite pissed off. Like, who does this guy think he is? He just came in to play mandolin and he's brought all these amps and he's brought a whole truck full of gear. And guess what he did? I was sitting there and they went, do you maybe want to try something, like a solo? And then he came up with the slide solo, electric guitar. And that would have never happened unless you had Tim Pierce in that day. That song wouldn't have sounded the way it sounded unless he was in that day. And I think that's where inspiration can strike, when you surround yourself with people that are talented, with people that can allow you to focus on what you need to focus on as an engineer. I mean, do you still play on records a lot, or just where need be?
I play every once in a while. Like if I have to play during a session, I'll play bass. I don't consider myself a bass player, but at least I can pocket enough to like hit record and then, but because I was a guitar player and I used to be a session player, but I've long since lost those chops to hang with session players. Yeah. Can't do it.
And what do you think it is? I've always wondered about when I see them and I speak to many people who use session musicians and they just say, Paul, as you said, it's like they just get in the pocket, but they get like that. And it's like, okay, that's not working. And it's like they're just a bag of tricks where they just, okay, you're not wanting that? Okay, let's try this. And it's so quick where in half an hour, you could have everything tracked, done, on time, job done. And as you said, the record just mixes itself.
Yeah.
And so how did you find these session musicians then? What did you do to find them?
I have different like groups of people. Like it just starts with phone calls around, and I was a musician before, so I have people that I'd played with. So I think the first call I ever made was to hire a bass player. He used to be in a band with me, or filled in somewhere. Well, now he plays every session for bass, and he's now my assistant and edits 90% of my YouTube videos now. So it's a really small, it's a really small like world around here, especially in the Midwest. But there are some killer players, and like the thing that we fight against sometimes is like, oh well, you're not in Nashville. Like, I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah, it's a different lifestyle. There's nothing knocking that at all. But to say that you can't find like that quality of player, I mean, Nashville will always have its like A listers, and I'm not saying we're on that tier at all. But like there are some darn good players around here. And there's anybody having a studio, like there's darn good players around just about anywhere. And if you try them out, it's more about like how they work together, not necessarily like I don't need to hire the best guitar player. I don't need to hire the best drummer. I don't need to hire the best bass player, but if they all get in the room and they play together, like it doesn't matter how like incredible each one's individual chops are if they sound great together.
Correct. So
I don't know if that answered the question at all.
Does absolutely answer. Honestly, already every interview we do, honestly, we always get elements of gold, and it's just the nuggets are there, Jeremy. I've just got to try and extract them. That's all I'm doing. I'm just trying to play a flute and just like come along my path.
The nugget extractor.
The nugget extractor. Jesus, that'll be a new thing. That'll be my new thing on YouTube. Paul Thorne, the nugget extractor. God. So let's talk a bit about the studio that you have, right? So how big are we talking about? I've seen it in the YouTube videos. Is it as big as the YouTube videos, or is it even bigger when you see it in person?
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends how big I look in the videos, because I'm a big guy. It's about a 3,000 square foot building.
Right. Okay.
It's weird shaped just because of the way we had to build it and the money we had at the time. So, like early on in the videos, you'll see a much smaller live room. And then that kind of expanded into like a hallway, and some other walls came down. So it's like a weird shaped L live room, but it works really well. Now when like we've got the like a lobby, because it used to be I'm in a medical plaza, so I'm surrounded by like doctor's office and optometrist and like a tax professional and a neurologist, I think. But we're a standalone building, and behind those, so I have very quiet neighbors, which is very nice. But I have like this weird kind of medical looking lobby and a vestibule. So like you enter the room, you come into this weird tile room with vaulted ceilings, and then another door, then you're in the building. Man, the way I make this place sound massive is I've put room mics in that little tiled vestibule.
Yeah, that'll trick.
And it just sounds massive. Like, sounds way bigger than this place actually is. So
DistroKid sponsor the Working Audio Tools podcast, and you can get 30% off your first year's subscription using the VIP link in the YouTube video description and podcast show notes. DistroKid makes distribution of your music easy with unlimited uploads, and you get to keep 100% of your royalties and earnings. Join over 1 million artists who rely on DistroKid to get their music into Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, TikTok, Tidal, Instagram, and all other streaming platforms now and in the future. The new DistroKid app is available on iOS. Go and download it from the App Store now. From here, you can upload new releases. You can see your DistroKid earnings and withdraw these earnings. You can view and share your hyperfollow links. You can check your streaming statistics from Spotify and Apple, and even add and edit lyrics and song titles. So keep track of your releases on the move with the new DistroKid app, available on iOS. Download it from the App Store now.
So how was the whole setup side of it? And because what I found, and again, I think Nate's very polite when he's here, but for anybody who doesn't know me, my cabling is an absolute disaster. I am the guy, when you come in, if you've got OCD, you'll walk straight back out. Like I am a nightmare, because I'm always in this way of, it's like, no, but I might change. So what's the point in putting all these cable ties and feeling fixed? Because I always am changing something. I'm changing a cable, and I'm changing this and moving this about. But obviously, obviously having an Atmos room, which you have now, which I'm pretty sure is this your Atmos room you're sitting in right now?
Yeah.
And again, you've got your live room, again, you've got your own separate control room as well. Now, even just me trying to get all this cabled in, like, you've got, I mean, how many ins and outs? What's your I/O in your setup?
In the main room, it's 64 in, 64 out.
Right. How do you manage to make it not an absolute mess?
Oh, it's
How
a mess.
do you manage it?
It is a mess. No, I have started to. It's been helpful because I have a really good intern right now, and an assistant. So I hired somebody, and that's taken like a lot of load off of other places.
Yeah.
So I found like I'm starting to learn how to make the place more efficient, and some of that is in like keeping it tidy, which is not a thing I'm very good at. Because I will go down a rabbit hole and like try 19 mics on something and then stack them all up on a table, and then I'm like, where is this thing I'm looking for? So I've been actively trying to get better at that, and wiring is something that kind of comes along with that. So tidying up the patch base, it's a work in progress, but yeah, it's kind of a mess. So,
and how does the analog side fit into it? Have you got to a point where you're thinking going down like what Ed's done, where he's got all the Wes Audio stuff and it's all recallable? I mean, how do you manage the analog side of it? Is it mainly just tracking, so you're printing on the way in? And then again, like, how are you managing, if you are using analog in the mixing side, like, how do you manage your recalls?
I I rarely use analog on the mix side except for my 2-bus. Because I'm pushing things through pretty heavy-handed on the front end when I know I'm going to finish the project. Now, if it's tracks I'm getting from somebody else, I try to stay relatively true to what they've had, and if it is like kind of like the bedroom producer thing where there's no hardware involved and it just needs something, like I'll push it through my typical vocal chain. But even then, it's like that stuff rarely changes because I've settled into some settings that I like, and the gain staging is this way because it's this way. And I should say, like, not that anybody needs this, but because I am a burl, I'm set up on burl converters, and those things are meant to be hit hard. Yeah, hit like in a certain way. So the gain staging is kind of like preset in that way. So I'm rarely changing settings on things. Like if I want to go through my LA2A, it's ready, you know. Or the distressor, like I might change 3 to 1, 4 to 1, whatever, but it's ready to go. But otherwise, taking pictures. I guess I could have shortened that answer. Just take pictures. Because
just take pictures. Just take pictures. It's fine. But I think it's really an important thing to talk about because I think everybody gets so enamored about analog. And I get it because, again, as Ed says, they turn into like very expensive Pokemon cards, especially when you get into the 500 series. Jesus, like I've got, especially, you'll know this and everybody knows this, is as soon as you get a 500 series rack, and again, you've just got a rack, as soon as you have an empty space, it just looks at you, and it's just like every time it's there, it's just like, fill me. And like, I don't need to fill it. You've got to fill me. Like just now, I'm genuinely thinking about getting 2 Cranborn, the new ones that they've released. It's got a brick
Oh
lane.
yeah, they were showing that at NAMM.
That looks nice, and I've got these 2 spaces, and I'm like, I do like the fact that I can get so many different forms of compression, and I can get in stereo, but then before you know it, you're like, how much is that going to cost? And again, I've been thinking about getting because I'm a big fan of the stay level. I was looking at the 500 series, like I think it's the double wide or something like that it's called in 500 series, and it all stacks up. Like I've got a 500 series grandchild, a Fairchild clone from Heritage Audio, and my voice is running through it now, and I love it, and I use it on all my vocals. It's like my main vocal compressor.
Oh man.
But it's one of these things where I always try and think, Paul, remember, you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. But I mean, you've got a lot of hardware. So how have you managed to control yourself, or have you managed to control yourself over the years?
I haven't. I've gotten the benefit to like try a lot of things because I'm close to some pretty big studios. So there was like some trading going on. Like, hey, we need to rent something from you. Here, you can borrow this. You can borrow this 1970s Yuri original 1176. I'm like, okay, let's try it. So I got the benefit to try a lot of stuff and see what I like and what I don't like. And you kind of find that there are those like certain circuits like that everybody copies, and if you have something that does the thing, you're good, you know? Like, am I going to sit here and say that the original Yuri 1176 doesn't sound better than one you can put in a 500 series rack? Probably not, but it's darn close. Like, and I think once you find those pieces that, like, they just do the thing, like, they're not even... when I started, yes, I was gear crazy and I wanted everything. And now it's like everything's a tool and I don't really care what it is as long as it sounds good. And if I find a plugin, I did make this promise to myself and my wife because we talk about everything financially. Like I don't purchase something without her knowing, and that's because I respect her and this is a partnership, you know. And if I can find a plugin that'll beat something in the rack, it goes. Like it's gone. And that like frees up so much mental space for you in a session too. Like it simplifies the process. And gear shouldn't be something that's like trophies. It's
correct. It's a
things
great
that
point.
you work with. So
what are your mainstays? What are if I had to say the 5 pieces of outboard in your studio now that you couldn't live without? Like Yeah, that was burning down, and somebody was like hypothetically going, "Is that how everything's burning down right now? But I've got these 5 pieces that I can click my fingers and you could keep. What would it be?"
Okay. Let's see here. The Neve MBP, what is the Portico 2, the bus processor? I love it. That's one. My inward connections TSL 4V.
Okay.
When I purchased it, I didn't really know what it was or what it would end up being, and now it's like this legendary thing that costs like 5 times what I bought it for.
Right.
I don't know, but that thing sounds magical on bass.
What is it?
And,
what
and
is
vocals. It's a Verimue compressor.
Right. Okay.
It's ugly brown thing, but it's fantastic. And gosh, my ELOP, the Manly ELOP, the old one that has output transformers, because you can slam it and the way that thing clips is great. I don't know why they took that out of the new one.
Did they take that out? I never knew that.
I guess I heard they did.
Yeah.
I was like, why? That's what makes that thing so cool. You can slam it. I love that on guitars. A distressor because it's a Swiss Army knife.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably a 1084. My Neve 1084. Again, a stupid expensive circuit that makes no sense why it costs what it does. But and I did not pay that when I originally bought it. But I've got 2 original 1073s and a 1084, and the 1084 is it's awesome.
So when you were talking about your vocal chain, are you doing the 1084 or are you doing the 1073?
1084.
1084.
I can do a 1073 if I want it to be a little grungier.
Yeah.
But the 1084 has just got it's a totally different flavor. It's not like it's an upgraded 1073. It's just something completely different. But man, it's something special.
And so when you're tracking, do you have like this balance of, linear, clean style preamps? You want to go clean, and then you kind of know what sort of elements you're going to want to push in. You're going to want to push that into the gear. You're going to want to get a bit of clipping, a bit of distortion. Mm-hmm. Is that how you normally work it? Would you kind of have a balance of, right, this has to be the contrast of, pushed and very linear, clean, transparent, sterile, some people would call it?
Yeah, maybe, but everything I have is discrete, so everything has a transformer. So like,
yeah, you've got the burls, for example. Yeah,
I feel like I'm pushing hard at basically every stage, which I necessarily don't recommend to everybody, but also that plays so much into like how the source that you're working with.
Yeah.
So I might pull back on some other areas and go into something cleaner. And probably the cleanest thing I have, I think, is the Focusrite ISAs. Like they're not necessarily clean, but it's the cleanest thing I've got. But even how I'm like miking something up, like I will still typically push pretty hard. Although I did do like this stupid experiment where I had like a super cheap rig with
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and I was shocked with the results that you can get. Like saturation definitely plays a huge role in like the back end of a workflow.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as important as people kind of think it is. Like if it's all about like time saving, how fast you need to get something out. But so much is doable with just about any gear out there.
Because I think what I heard in that comparison is, and it probably makes sense why many people like to push in like you do on the way in, is that it almost sounds like you want to kind of glue the mix before you've even mixed it. And you're kind of using all of that saturation in the clipping just to kind of tame everything, put it down, and just kind of make it more cohesive.
Yeah. And it is helpful too, I think, with pulling performances out of vocalists if they hear the entire thing like as a record as it's happening, as much as one can. Yeah. But it's definitely inspiring and fun to do it that way, and it makes mixing less involved on the back end, which I'm always a fan of.
So how did you build up all the gear that you've got? Because obviously financially it's a thing where many people look at many studios and they're like, it's almost like you're genuinely working to buy gear. And I've spoken to many people that are like, you kind of started out like that. I would get a good lump sum from a big gig, and then I spend half of it on gear, some on the bills, and then on gear. So is that what you did? Did you just take your time and slowly pick the things that you wanted over time? Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of sucks now because everything is expensive.
Oh, so expensive.
Like there's no way if I was starting now, like I would end up with the collection that I have, or at least it would take a lot longer. What I what I had originally done was I bought things broken, or I did a lot of DIY stuff.
Ah, right. Okay.
So like I have a 500 series rack, and it's filled with all cappy stuff that I made.
Mm-hmm.
I bought the kits, like $200 for a killer preamp. Like that's hard to beat.
Especially when you think about the price of the capes to buy them just standalone, like fully built. Expensive.
And the units that they're copying. Like they're not, I mean, they are their own thing, but like you can save bonkers money if you just if you have a soldering iron, and even like I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I started, but if you just sit down and you're patient, 90% of the time it's like a broken cap or a resistor that's really easy to fix. And if not, you just resell it for a broken price and you're basically out nothing. So totally. you can afford to make that mistake, but the upside is really huge. So like don't be afraid of those like 4 parts listings.
Yeah, it's a good point.
You can get some cool stuff that way.
And so in terms of your mics, like what are kind of like your main, have you kind of got mainstays for certain things? So it'll be for vocals, you'll have like a choice of maybe of 3 mics, or do you genuinely, with a vocalist, maybe put 6, 7 mics in front of them if you've got time? How do you work that?
I put as many up as I have time for. The one that typically is always up is the Loudon Eden.
Yeah, I've got the Atlantis. That's actually in the booth right now.
Dude, I want to try the Atlantis. So
the Atlantis is, but actually, the more you think, the more I looked into it. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Eden is pretty much the Atlantis, but it's a more expensive version, and I can't remember why there's a difference in the price.
I don't know.
Can't remember what it is, but they sound good, and I think because I remember when I watched your review on it as well, and there's a reason that made me get in touch with them at the time, was just the tonal variety with those 3 circuits is crazy.
Like you may as well have set up 3 different microphones.
Totally, yeah.
And I mean, and there are 3 popular circuits that it's kind of mimicking, and in that instance, like you can have a ton of microphones, but there's really a handful of circuits that everybody copies anymore. And there are those companies that do their own thing, like Soyuz. The Soyuz 017 is one of my favorites, but it's doing like the 67 thing. Yeah. But then Soyuz has their own flavor. Like Loudon has so many cool things, and they've got their own flavor. But like ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't care what the mic is. Correct, it's more about that like push pull, because that's what I found. I have too many mics, right? I don't know how I became the mic guy. Like, hey, you want to try this mic? I really do, because I'm a nerd. But what I have noticed, like putting up 6 or 7 mics, and when I talk to the artist about what they like or what they hear out of something when we're doing a blind test, it's, well, this one makes me feel this way. And like that affects performance, and that's way more important than like how much clarity I have at 20K. I don't, that's important, but the performance trumps everything.
And do you do a lot of vocal coaching in the booth? I mean, I've been finding more and more, because it's maybe artists that aren't really established. I'm having to do a lot of vocal coaching, and I'm finding it's really hard to keep them motivated, because especially when they're starting out, they could be so hard on themselves. And it's like trying to make sure that you do extract the right performance. Like if something's off key or it's just not right, you've kind of got to be like, no, come on, let's do that again. Let's do that again. Yes. Like, I mean, how was that a thing that took you time? Were you good at it from the start, the vocal coaching side of it, or is it something you got better at over time?
Dude, I have so much fun with this, and this could be a whole video. And I've wanted to make this video, but I don't really know how. So my background, actually, how I met my wife, I was an operatic tenor in college. Like I had a minor when I went to college as vocal performance, with a concentration in like pedagogy, which like teaching. So one of those things, like I mean, people can call this woo-woo all they want. It's really easy when I'm in the studio, because I also have a background in like barbershop quartet. I did it competitively. I'm a nerd. Wow. Yes. We got pretty far.
That just reminds me of that Simpsons episode, like "Baby on Board."
Dude, you go to a barbershop competition, they are singing that song out there. So there are like some really embarrassing clips of me out there. If you search barbershop Harmony Society on the Fritz, that was my old group.
Links in the description.
Don't do it. Make them work for it. It is embarrassing because that was a long time ago. But like that experience in working with people who are so in tune to like the voice as an instrument, yeah, that is a big rabbit hole you can go down because there's so much mechanically happening here. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I think is so important if you're trying to produce a vocal, learn how to hear where resonance is coming from and learn how to like kind of trick a vocalist into changing it. So many people want to sing like from, you know, like places of their body where it'll resonate in their own head and the way they hear it to themselves sounds good. But what happens in the room and what happens to an external listener or the microphone right in front of you is you're not like singing with that full resonant thing. Like you can make like a woman go from sounding like, you know, she's 16 to sounding like she's this full mature voice. And just with some small tweaks. And like there's a ton of really good information on like vocal coaching out there. Like things just check it out. Like I nerd out on that stuff. I don't want to I feel like I'm kind of showing my
you need here. To make a video on already. I'm like, I want that video right now because that's what I'm doing right now.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, no. You take it. Know what to do. Take it bit by bit. Just put notes in your phone and just like structure it out. Because I think that would be a great video. Because there's, if you think about it as a producer's job, you know, even recording engineers, you know, we're all kind of wearing so many hats. It's a massive part because when they record that vocal, if it's a shit performance, you ain't going to fix that in the mix.
Yeah.
Shit performance is a shit performance.
I gotta tell everybody, like, especially the nervous ones, because I record a lot of people who this is like, you know, their first time in the studio sometimes. Yep. And like I tell them, like, look, I can fix pitch, I can fix timing, I cannot fix passion, and that's your job. Like, tell me a story. Make me connect with it. Make me feel something. Everything else can be fixed. Ideally, we're not doing that, but still, it gets them in a different headspace to be able to perform it in a different way. And a lot of times, if somebody really is like in there kicking ass, like you don't care that they missed the note. You don't care that they said this word a little weird. Like that's the charm about it. So
I always, as a reference term, when I've been doing like some vocal coaching. And I do the same as you, but I talk about, it's just not feeling right. Like, tell me a story. And, you know, when it comes to things not being perfect, I always talk about Twist and Shout. Twist and Shout is one of the best stories ever, where Twist and Shout would have never sounded as good if John Lennon was at it was the very last song of the session. He'd completely broken his voice out. And all that vocal distortion and that sound of Twist and Shout is him screaming that whatever his voice box could do. And that was all he had, and he just let it out, and that wouldn't have been Twist and Shout without that performance and without that, you know, vocal distortion. And I think that's what we miss a lot of times, and I think it's really good that you're talking about the things that I'm looking at, which again is performance, it's emotion. You know, we've got the tools, we've got the preamps, we've got the compression. Do you find that for the vocal performance, compressing on the way in does help their vocal performance?
I do. And I do it aggressively. I think I made one video about how much I compress on the way in, and people ripped me apart. And I'm like, what? They're like, that's so many people like, don't ever do this. You'd never do that. I would not mix this record. Like, I don't know. Like, by the time a record's finished, like if it's, I mean, granted, like take into account like genre specific things, but if we're talking like straight ahead rock pop, it is not crazy to have like 20, 30 dB 100%. Of compression across every stage, like probably more. And it's like, why not start that process on the beginning? I'm not finishing that process. I'm going to compress it more. But it's, I don't know. I feel like I get better performances. People hear themselves better.
I agree. 100%.
They're more comfortable. Like, and that's the whole thing.
Because I always find that when I have compression, I always feel like over takes and takes and takes, they don't even know what they're doing, but they're actually dynamically using the compression. They're singing into it. They're realizing
they use it as an instrument.
Correct. And it's, definitely. I mean, it's amazing how, I can't remember what I was doing, and I changed the patching. I was like, the Fairchild isn't in. And straight away I was hearing the dynamicism of like that jump. And I was like, I don't like this. Get the compressor in. And again, because it changes their performance, where if they go to sing a really loud bit, it could be a loud chorus. It could be, just a bit where they're just belting from their chest a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing you want is that to be loud to them, and then they do that. And then they sing back, and all of a sudden it's just...
They pull back, yeah.
Correct. So yeah, honestly, make that video. I don't know how you're going to do it, but make it. Make it.
The hard part is if you make it, then you have to tell the person you're working with you're making it, and then it's kind of like, you've kind of skewed the results already. So I have to kind of be sneaky about it. So I'm curious. I have a question for you.
Okay.
On the Atlantis, when do you find, I don't know the difference in the capsule between the Eden and the Atlantis, but the thing I like about the Eden is it has that heavier capsule. Mm-hmm. So it kind of acts like a compressor itself. Like it kind of narrows out those like micro dynamics or mouth noises. Like, do you find that on the Atlantis too? Yes,
it's kind of got this, almost feels like a bit of compression in it, where it feels like to me like it's just clipping off some of the transients, because it is coloured. Like if you go from, like one of the vocalists that I had in, we ended up on the OC818 because it did really suit her voice. And it was that difference of, you could hear the colour in the Atlantis and it just didn't suit her voice, didn't suit the song. And it was the transparency, and some people would call it sterile, but it's just, clean, completely transparent, and it was great. But then again, I've had loads of other vocalists in, and what I find is, for vocalists that maybe don't have a bit of character in their voice, I find that the Atlantis can work pretty well for that, where it's got that little bit, sometimes a little bit of grit in it, especially if you push into it a little bit. And especially on, I normally find, I don't know about you, but most times I'm using the mid forward. I think is it forward that it's called? The three got gentle, the gentle forward, and something else.
The G. And the different modes on the mic you're talking about?
Yeah.
I said on mine, at least, I know one of them, the forward, is kind of based on like a C800 thing, and that's basically where I keep mine, because that's the gap I have in my mic locker, because I don't have anything that does that thing. So that's where I keep mine. Because
I find that for singers that are maybe a bit, I don't know, maybe a bit gentle sounding, or maybe need a bit of a mid-range kind of push, I normally find that setting does it really well. It's just got this mid-range push to it, and I'm like, okay, you sound a bit more present now. Okay,
it can be too big for some people.
Yes, 100%. So that is good. That's what I love about having those three settings, because it is a pain having to go, right, unscrew, take off the cradle, right, okay, put that on now, okay, let's try this. And it's always that thing where you don't want to fatigue the artist, where they're just wanting to get in and sing the song. Yeah. And they're like, oh yeah, what does this sound like to you? I don't know. Like, I get some artists that are like, I don't know. You get some that are really into it. Or like, no, that's the one. Love it. So yeah, it's got to be careful. But I think it is, if you've got the time, Jeremy, I think that's what's important, is allowing yourself the time in a session to be able to experiment like that. See, when it comes to drums, I've got a really fixed setup, because I fucking hate drums. I fucking hate drums. But I've seen it. I know. I've seen a few videos of you when it's like you do like to experiment kind of certain things, and I do know there's certain things you will kind of normally keep as like your mainstay, but I even noticed on drums there's times that you could like change shit up just because you want a different kind of a sound. And again, that takes time. There's a lot of prep, and I think that's what I didn't realise was the amount of prep that goes into a session. It's so much. And you've got to factor that in, which many people I don't think, when they're like, 4 hour, book you in for a 4 hour session, and I'm like, okay, right, okay, cool. So, right, that's your snare. Okay, that snare isn't properly tuned. Right, okay, we're going to have to tune that snare. That's going to take you 15 minutes. And then you're like, right, okay, sort that out. Okay, that should work. And I normally do it that way, because I do find that my sessions run quick. But I wanted to ask your opinion on something, because I know you've got this mic, and I'm pretty sure I watched a video where you tried it. My overhead mic is the OC818 and the Dual Capsule. Because I remember you tried it on a few things as well, and everybody that's been in my studio and they've heard the recordings, they've been like, this thing in stereo Dual Capsule is unbelievable. I've done it on acoustic guitars. I've even got like an electric piano that's in the live room, and I just recorded it and I pinned it up, and I was like, let's just see what happens here. And it sounded like a real piano, and like everybody was just looking, going, how did you make that thing sound like a real piano? And I'm like, mate, this mic, it's just unbelievable. And everybody's still like, how does that work? That shouldn't work. The Dual Capsule shouldn't work on overheads. It just fucking does. It's unbelievable.
This is where like I have to pick your brain a little bit, but
Right.
the OC, the 818, you mentioned it before. I love that mic.
Yeah.
And I did a video on it, and it was one like Austrian audio just like sent the mic and they're like, hey, if you like it, make a video. Well, I ended up buying another one because I loved it. Like, I have 2 of them now, but because I never use it. Like since I've had 2, I don't use the dual capsule thing nearly as much, and I think about it every time, but I'm like, I don't have the time to set it up. So I need to get back into that because I know you can do crazy things, especially when you have 2 of them in dual capsule mode.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. That would be tasty.
But that mic is very special. Like that's in the short list of really cool mics.
So we've done mics, we've done analog gear, right? Okay, talk more about the studio, right? Acoustics. How much have you went down the acoustic rabbit hole? Have you taken yourself so far? Have you went into the lunacy rabbit hole?
I don't know.
Where have you sat on the acoustic side of your studio?
Everything's kind of DIY. For this new room, I brought in how you say it? Acoustician. There it is.
Acoustician, yes.
There's a Gavin Haverstick.
Seen that.
He's local around here. He works with people all over the world. So I'm very lucky to have access to him, and he helped me with this room, and just kind of giving me ideas and things to work on. But I mean, everything in here was DIY, at least built that way. But it started with good math, and that was the important part with this room, I'm finding. But I mean, past that, that's about as deep as I go.
So in your control room, because it's quite an interesting setup in your control room, and I look at it and I go, because I can tell that, again, you like the stand. You like the stand in your control room. So like, how does that work in terms of your control room? Because it's like long and narrow, and again, you're standing. Like, did you worry a lot about the speakers? Because again, you had the focals in. Was it the trios?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had the trios in.
They're in here now. Now I've got the SM8s over there.
Naughty, yeah.
It's a weird room. It's a very weird room, and that basically was because it was what we could do with the money we had when we got the building. Because there's like certain things about the HVAC I couldn't move at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like weird spots on the ceiling, and there's weird doors in weird places. It is not a perfect setup. I've done what I can, but it is not like a space other people can come and mix in and have very good luck. I'm just used to it.
So what's your correction? What's your correction in that room?
I don't use any.
Oh, okay, interesting. So you just learn that room. You've got the speakers where you've got them. Right, okay.
There's like weird dips in there, but honestly, like it's not bad on paper because I've measured it. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. And I know, having gone back and forth from the car so many times, like, okay, I need to mix my kick drums a little heavy because there's a notch right at 60, which is fun. But once you learn that, like, you're fine. If that's the only environment you work in, if your environment's not perfect, you can learn it, you know? Mm-hmm. It's not ideal for other people to come in and work.
Yeah, that was something that, again, when me and Nate were talking today, when we were doing the SM8s, and he did say that, he was like, that's what many people forget, is that it's very difficult for people when they've had a room for a long time. They've got the speakers that they've had for 5, 6, 7 years in the exact same position, and you come in and measure it, and you're like, no, if we were to move this and juxtaposition this around and maybe try this and try that, and then all of a sudden they're like, I don't like this. This isn't the way that I've had
it's
it.
Different.
Because they've learned it, and that's the sim that they have. Where somebody else coming in would be like, oh my God, I can't work with this. But I think it's a good testament of, you know, being able to learn a room. But again, I think it all comes down to your speakers as well. Like, I've always said, you can't mix on shit speakers. I've tried it. You can mix on anything, but the job's a hell of a lot harder.
Yeah.
And it takes a hell of a lot longer, and there's a hell of a lot more translation issues, and going from headphone to this to that and trying this out. Like, I remember when I had 3 budget speakers, because that was all I could get from YouTube at the time. And I remember going, I wouldn't choose to mix on any of these. And that was one of the reasons why I ended up mixing predominantly on headphones, and I went down that journey, because I found that when it came to speakers, I mean, under $1,000, I find hard to recommend anything under $1,000. I mean, you could have a great room and there's still the limitations that me and Nate have been talking about. So, like, tell people a little bit of your, again, because I think there'll be a video on the SM8s coming at some point, but what was the kind of the reasons behind, one, why you did decide to go for the focals over all the speakers you would have tried, and why is it that you've kind of tried something different in that control room, having the focals in there for so long?
I was focal originally when I first started the room, just because that's what we got. I was using the old twins, the 6Bs, I want to say.
They're the red ones.
Yeah, yep. And at the time, like, it was the best speaker I'd ever heard, because I was coming from like an old pair of like Alesis MK2s or whatever. They were terrible. So these like were the first foray, and then I found out, like, as I was starting to work more, I'm like, okay, these are fun to listen to, but they're not honest.
Yeah.
And that's what I found with a lot of focal stuff at the time. Since they'd redone the tweeter, I had the chance to listen to like their new tweeter design in the room, because I'm super close to Sweetwater.
Yeah.
I'm like an hour and a half drive from Sweetwater. So I was there and they were showing off the Trio 6s, which what I have in this room now. And I was like, this does not sound like the same brand of company. And they had the twins with the new tweeters as well. And I was like, what is different? What is happening right here? Fast forward, I ended up getting some Dutch and Dutch, because I have a friend who had a lot of them, recommended them, sells them, ended up with a pair of Dutch and Dutch.
Is that the 8Cs?
Yeah, the 8Cs.
Yeah.
I think they just released the 6Cs. Fantastic speaker. They're awfully expensive, and the price kept going. It kept going up over the time period that I had them. I won't say don't get them, because they're amazing, but I also had like some weird support issues that Dutch and Dutch still says never happened, but whatever. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So I had to get away, and I had to try something else. I came back to these Trio 6s, and I put them into my room after having the Dutch and Dutches.
Yeah.
And they had pretty, like, for less than half the price, like the same thing in the transient that I really liked.
Yeah.
It was fast. It was clear. You can have a lot of things with a speaker. If I can hear the transient, I can get a lot of work done, you know?
Correct. Yeah.
And so I settled on those for a long time. Love them. They're now in this main room, which is kind of becoming my main mix suite. I need a standing desk, though. That's the one thing missing. Now I've got the Callies in that room, and I really like them. And I'm finding they have that same like Dutch and Dutch thing, like that super strong center image.
Yep.
The really fast, very clean transient.
Very clean transient.
Very clean.
Super, super clean.
Almost off-puttingly clean. Because it'll show, like, I pulled up a mix and I was like, oh, this doesn't sound like, I need to change some stuff here. But I love that about a speaker. Like, I want it to be honest. I don't want it to be fun, you know?
Yeah, I think that's something that I've been fighting over the years. As again, I've had the PMCs, again, fun, like trying to entertain me, trying to impress me. And again, you know, I've got other speakers. Again, the heads, again, I do like the heads, but the heads have this thing where the AMT tweeter just has a sound, and I'm like, nothing else sounds like it. And that kind of worries me a little bit when I'm like, I really like the sound of these, but I'm like, nothing else sounds as grabby as these Acors. But when I put the SM8s up, I'm just like, the image is there. I'm not like, I don't feel like it's hyping up anything, because I feel like the heads are very grabby in their transients, and it's like very like, where these have got very fast, accurate transients, but it's super clean and super wide. And I feel like when I'm listening to the SM8s, I'm just listening to the song. But as well, because they're so linear and clean, I could hear distortion more. And it's one of these things where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about that. And I'm listening to mixes older mixes I've done, and I'm like, fuck, these are the right speakers. These are the right speakers. These are telling me what I know isn't right. And I'm like going, right, if I would have mixed on these, the mix would have sounded the way I wanted it to. And it's a shame that, you know, it does come at that price, but it does. And that's what I try and say to people so much, is that, yeah, like, you can get speakers and you can mix on them, and you can get budget speakers, and yeah, you can get stuff for your budget. But if you want to do this professionally, you do need to hear transients. You do need to have linearity. You do need to have honesty that's not hyped, that's not audiophile, that's not trying to be too deep, that's not trying to be too detailed. That's what I don't like about PSIs, is I find the PSIs too detailed in the top end, where I can tell I'm listening to a tweeter. That's always off-putting for me when I listen to a speaker and I'm like, I can tell I'm listening to a tweeter. Where with these SM8s, they're so smooth. Like the whole picture is just
the
right.
crossovers, whatever they've done there, it works.
It's amazing. So obviously, a bit of time with the SM8s. Do you think that they are going to be a keeper for you, or are you still kind of going to take maybe another couple of months?
I've only had them for like 2 weeks, so I don't know.
Is that only?
The first, my first sessions, I've got, in these 3 weeks, I've got like 10 days of sessions. So I'm going to be really anxious to like do board bounces and then see how they sound in the car. So, I mean, initially, I'm like, these are cool. I don't know yet. We'll see.
I know, and because that's the thing. At the end of the day, you've got to work on them. But I imagine this is going to be a bit of a big jump for you, because you've been in that room with those focals for so long that you know inside and out. I mean, is it quite scary for you to jump into sessions with a new pair of speakers?
I mean, kind of, but the difference isn't super crazy from the trios
which is
to
important.
the SMAs.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's a different flavor, obviously. Like, and focal has its thing.
It's got a house sound to it,
Yeah, and I mean, I tend to like that sound, and I'm definitely used to it, for better or worse. But like the difference, and again, it's like the same thing I like there. Like, yeah, there's the focal sound, but that super quick, super clean transient, like that's, you know, you can make almost anything work as long as you can hear that. But am I nervous? Yeah, I'm kind of nervous. I'm worried I'm gonna make the kit sound like, I know there's certain things I do in sessions, so I'm trying to minimize variables. So if I have an anchor on something like this first session, I know I can keep up my normal like kick drum miking scheme and my kick drum. So I know that sound in that room. And so I'm anxious to hear, like, when somebody else hits that drum, like, is it going to be recognizable, or am I going to be like, I got to change all this stuff? And then I have to think about, I probably shouldn't do that. That's me learning this new speaker.
Totally. But you'll get there. But it is always a scary thing when you've got a sound. And that's why many people say to me, if it works, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Which I think is obviously a big part of your kind of, you know, your workflow as well, where again you do have set go-tos that you will go to, and there are certain chains that you know just work, so you can just plug it in and there's no surprises, and you kind of have that consistency of the way that you're going to work. So I suppose the last thing, and it's great I can chat to you about this, because Ed would have vetoed it and says, no, okay, it's been emotional, right, okay, that's we're finished.
Hey there, Ed here. You may recognise my voice from doing all the other DistroKid advert segments. This time I didn't want to just do a typical advert talking about stuff to do with DistroKid. I actually wanted to give you my feedback about the service, because I genuinely do use DistroKid for uploading my music. And I know Paul does, and it turns out Dan Worrell does as well. I've used DistroKid since 2019. As you can see on the screen, I have 6 releases so far. It is genuinely super easy to use. The tracks get into Spotify within 24 hours, which is remarkable. Apple Music takes a little bit longer. I'd suggest giving that 10 to 14 days. The hyperfollow links are really useful for advanced promotion of your tracks, and the promo cards are really great visual aids for social media promotion. Ooh, I particularly like that one. DistroKid collect all the royalties from your streaming services, and here you can find an itemized breakdown of where all your income has come from. There's also a DistroKid referral where you can save your friends $10 per sign-up by creating your own VIP referral link.
Okay, I won't bore you all with Atmos, because I know you don't give a shit about it. You hate it all. I know I've read all your comments. I know. You all hate it. It's going nowhere. It's a waste of money. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So again, 10 minutes just to wrap up, because some people might switch off now. But as you have built the Atmos room, I mean, how are you feeling about the room now it's finished? Now you're starting to listen to mixes in Atmos. What is your feeling regarding Atmos now?
Oh man, I have learned so much. It's a different learning curve.
Big time. I'm still learning it.
And I'm finding I totally understand why some people like just shit on it so hard. because there are some really bad mixes out
Really
there.
bad. Bohemian Rhapsody. When I first heard it, I was like, this needs to be the biggest thing ever. And I was like, this sounds pretty shit. Like, I don't like this at all. Brian May's guitar is like the loudest thing. It comes in and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa. I was like, Jesus,
Yeah.
Brian. I get it. You're in the room, Brian. I get it. Jesus.
I'm trying to pull up like my playlist
A
here.
good suggestion, Human Nature. I'd never heard Human Nature.
Oh, dude, that's on my list.
I know.
That's
See,
the
when you
top
said
10.
it, I was like, oh, that's good. Fleetwood Mac are still, I don't know what it is about Rumours, man. Rumours is just
Yes.
fucking amazing. I love listening to Rumours on it.
One thing, it doesn't sound good, but Spice Girls is now in Atmos.
Is
Go
it?
listen.
Oh, some old Spike Stent mixes on the go.
Tom Petty, like the You Don't Know How It Feels. That thing is the biggest kick drum. I don't know if it's a good mix. It's a good example of like what Atmos can do in the space
Yeah.
and the low end clarity. Like I find I don't like the flashy mixes.
I get what you mean.
It's the ones that like bring you into the song.
Correct.
And like I don't on one hand I understand the pushback, but I kind of my only pushback to the pushback, I guess, would be we strive for immersiveness in so many other areas.
Correct.
Like the gaming industry, like home theater. There's like, how can we get more immersive? But now when it comes to music, it's like, we only have 2 fucking ears. Like,
Oh,
what?
I know.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
those ears hear spatially. Like, what?
Correct.
I don't get it. Like, and the whole idea of Atmos is that it's one deliverable for multiple things, and right now those deliverables may not be perfect, but like technology will change and it will get to a point where it's possible. So I hope it lives long enough to see that. But in the meantime, I'm having a blast, man. Like, because ultimately, like, as a musician, and like this is what the whole thing. Like, this is being in the music. This is being there with the artist.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
Marvin Gaye. I mean, the What's Going On, that thing. Sit in the room with him.
Yeah. For me, Beach Boys, or God Only Knows. Oh my God, I could actually hear. It's almost like I'm in the room with them. And then one that I play all the time when I'm to impress people is "Fly Me to the Moon" with Frank Sinatra.
Ooh,
oh my God, it is amazing. It's like he's playing on the stage in front of you, and it's like the dynamic range of it. And I think that's one thing that I try and tell people so much is that obviously with things that it has to be minus 14. No, sorry, minus 18, isn't it? Minus 18 lufts. It's got to be that. So you've got so much dynamic range to play with. So when you've got stuff like old records like Fly Me to the Moon, you really hear the band playing and it feels like it's live because the drums just get massive and then the horns come in. And what I love about the Audio software is because I could solo things on the app. What I do all the time with Fleetwood Mac when I'm playing Dreams, especially Fly Me to the Moon, I just go to the center channel, solo it. There's Frank's vocal. There's Stevie's vocal on its own. And you see people, I love that feeling when you just get the yes, whatever you just done there, this is amazing. Because it's great to be able to separate stems. I love getting parts of Atmos and, sticking on the sides and going, they only stuck the synths that I've never heard in this song to the sides. I never even knew that was part of the song. Being able to deconstruct songs almost in is something that I had somebody in and they're a big Oasis fan. It was like Supersonic got done, and it was like the way they done it was Noel Bonehead was playing in the front, Noel Gallagher's guitar was playing in the rear, and you had it isolated. And I was like, oh my God, so I've actually got Noel and Bonehead's guitars isolated, and I could just listen to the solo, I can listen to the lead, and it's those things that you experience music again. And that's what I tried to make when I made a video about it, and it was all about the Colt and Barry John's thing, how it got ridiculous, and I was like, we shouldn't be arguing about something that's just an experience. And I get it, the whole deliverable thing, and we me and you both understand everybody's hatred behind it, and the push that it's got on trying to get the deliverables for songs. There's so many songs where you just don't need Atmos. Like, there's times where I mix records and I think, oh my God, I've now finished this mix and I'm finally happy with it. The client's happy with it. And now I've got to mix it in Atmos and export the stems, and now I've got to, I've just got the stereo to where I like it, and now I've got to do an Atmos mix. And it's motivation, but what I'm finding is that when I'm not motivated with Atmos, I just listen to the songs that I've got on my playlist, and I'm like, this is why I want to get into it. This is why I hope it goes somewhere. Because again, some of the tracks that you mentioned in your video, some of the tracks I've mentioned, there's loads. There's so many songs that it's funny, I can't remember what it was, and they said, you know what, Paul, I've never ever liked this song, but I fucking love it in Atmos. And I was like, wow. So actually, like, this immersive format can actually make you like a song. You can go from not liking it to liking it.
Well, it's like a different level of communication of an idea. So it's like if you didn't connect with an emotion before, like that's all it is. Like it's this communication of an emotion. And like shitty mixes are poor communication of like an idea and an emotion. So it's like, I'm not a pro at this yet, but like what you said about now having back to go and mix Atmos, like what I had decided if I was going to get into this, I was going to do it both at the same time.
Yeah.
Mixing stereo and Atmos simultaneously. And so that's why I have like a couple videos with Warren David, who's been like a great friend and a mentor in this whole process. And that's what he does. And he's got it down to a science. It works for him. I'm not saying it works for everybody, but I was like, if I'm going to do it, that's how I'm going to do it. So, and it's been a lot of fun.
So what is your plan for it, for taking it forward? Is it something that you're just offering to clients in the hope that they want it, or are you trying to like add it in some projects that you think it will work for? Like, how are you going to try and make this work?
I mean, the whole reason I did it is, I mean, there's videos when I was talking about it early on where I thought it was stupid. I didn't want to get into it, and then I started losing gigs because I can't offer it. So that's when I was like, okay, let me see, what is this thing? So like there's already projects that we're going back and doing like backlog stuff, which is one thing, and it's a different method of kind of figuring things out. And most of what you're doing when you're working on like label backlog is like, how can you unscrew up a track to make it work in Atmos?
Because it's got to, that's so people are so attached to it, you can't fuck it up.
Well, and like when you've mixed something for stereo, you have to do like all this like cutting and surgical things to make it work in a left-right. Well, now you have all this space, and like something can be way too pokey in Atmos, and it just does not work. It can draw too much attention, or like it's just weird. So like there's a lot more space. So I mean, that's a stupid comment. Of course, there's space, but like it's almost like you do less in Atmos.
I know what you mean.
And you kind of have like you quickly grab onto the original intent. But I mean, for what I'm doing moving forward, I mean, obviously there's the stuff that's like, there's gigs that are just Atmos, and that's cool. There's artists, like a lot of the artists I work with, like would never just ask for it because I'm out here, like the ones I'm working with and tracking here, who it is like their first time in the studio, like they're not like, hey, let me get some of those Atmos mixes. Yeah. But because I'm doing it simultaneously, I can just provide it. So that's what I'm doing for a lot of people, like right now, besides the other stuff. So,
right. So I'm not going to ask you if you think it's going to take off, because we don't know if it's going to take off. And please, for anybody wanting to comment, just don't. I know you hate it. I know that this. I could see the comments. I could see it in my mind's eye. I could see it like a projector.
Barry has entered the chat.
No, Barry. No, please, not today. Right, so I think we've covered in an hour and 22 minutes. I think we've covered a ton of stuff. And honestly, Jeremy, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Because again, you're all busy working engineers, and so I really appreciate the time that you all take out to just sit and nerd out with me. So I suppose the last thing just before we go, is there anything upcoming, anything exciting that you would maybe want to, maybe anything upcoming on your channel that you'd maybe want to give a little bit of something?
Oh man, I don't plan that far ahead. The channel's literally a diary of what happens. I don't have many ideas that are too far ahead. I do have a question though.
Right.
This is maybe just somebody's third party out there. My wife thinks it's a bad idea, but I've had the Recording Studio Losers been the name forever. And some people have told me, like, since the beginning, got to change your name, man. Got to change your name. I guess I see it like the little bit of, like, self-deprecation thing, but then some people see it as off-putting. But you mentioned like the recording studio journey. That's a lot like what I had written down as like the alternate title for the channel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Is recording studio loser like an off-putting, like insulting name?
I genuinely think that it's the most humble YouTube channel name in our community, and I love it for that. I think humility is something that we need more of. That's why I like to watch you. I like to watch your journey, because it's not all, coming up a roses all the time. It's not like you're turning in going, here is how to EQ a kick drum on a mix that I have mixed and already had accepted and already told it's a great mix. I love seeing sometimes the battle scars, and sometimes making a video to say, I'm having a rough week this week. Oh my God, this didn't go the way I planned it. And then sometimes, again, you've got your ups and your downs, you've got your celebrations, and again, you've got your times you've got to kind of lick your wins a little bit. And I think that that's what I love about that title, is that when I see it, I see somebody that's humble and somebody that's got humility, where when I watch you, I know there's no bullshit in there. It is genuinely just a working audio engineer. So I would never change it. I think by changing it, it would kind of be trying to be that shiny, glossy YouTuber way, where it's trying to pretend that you're something that you're okay. You would get away with it now because you're established and you've got the subscribers. But I think genuinely that's probably, and I've probably see it in the comments, I think people will agree with me that it's one of the things that they liked about it. It was somebody going, yeah, you're not out here pretending to be a superstar. You're not out here pretending to be, this big Grammy-winning engineer. You're just like, I'm a guy. I'm an audio engineer. And at the end of the day, the truth of it all is, Jeremy, this is the way I like to end it, is that especially in audio, no matter who you are, there will always be a day when you're a loser. It doesn't matter who you are, there will be off days. Everybody at the top of the game has off days where you just sit there and go, well, that session was an absolute fuck up. That mix just did not go the way that I'd planned it. Wow, I had a shit mix that day. And that's what I love about it, because at the end of the day, we are all recording studio losers at the end of the day, because guess what? That's what the journey is. You've got to lose to win, right? Nobody just walks out their bed one day and goes, I'm a winner. Fantastic.
Yeah.
You've got to have so many losses to then get those W's back on the board again. So no, I love it. I love the title. Love it.
That's kind of where my head was. But I mean, eventually the comments are like making me rethink it. And I don't want to seem like, well, he says he's a loser, but look at everything he has. But I hope it didn't come across that way. But I like your take on it, and that's basically the same take my wife has. So
I genuinely think that people in the comments will as well, honestly. So, Jeremy, recording studio loser, as it will stay. Paul Thorne has put the gauntlet down and said, this is how it will stay. No changes, because Paul Thorne said so. Jeremy, again, thank you so much for your time. There'll be links to Jeremy's channel in the description. Most of you, I'd say nearly 99% of you that watch this will have watched one of Jeremy's videos in the past. If you've not, check out his channel, subscribe, watch his content, follow the journey. And yeah, we will maybe get Jeremy back on again with Ed, and because there's always more to talk about Jeremy. We could stick us in a room and probably we could go like 2-3 days just straight, chatting audio. So Jeremy, thank you so much for your time. I've been Paul Thorne. That's Jeremy. And I will see you again with Ed. We'll see you again when we see you.